Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about one-dimensional array. So in this today's topic, we are going to discuss definition and analogy for one-dimensional array, pictorial representation, declaration and initialization of one-dimensional array, and along with some examples. Now let us see the definition. An array in which values are stored either vertically or horizontally with a single subscript is called one-dimensional array. What does an array consist? Array consists of multiple values, and how these values are represented in the vertical fashion or horizontal fashion, and it should have only one subscript. So what do you mean by the term called as a subscript? A pair of square bracket in which we are going to mention the size for an array is called as a subscript. If you see this particular slide, I have given 5 values 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. How the values have been got stored? The values has been got stored one after the another. That means one beside the another. So this particular representation we call it as a horizontal representation. If you see this particular figure, the second figure, here also the same values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 have been got stored, but they have been stored one below the other. So this particular representation we call it as a vertical representation. So in your textbook or when you are working manually, you can either go with a horizontal representation or you can go with a vertical representation. Practically in a computer, the memory will be working in the vertical fashion itself. When working with the one-dimensional array, some of the important points need to be remembered. Every array name should be a valid name. That means array name can't be a keyword. We create an array to store multiple values. When we are storing multiple values, all the values should be of a same data type. So when we create an array, rooms will be created or partitions will be made. Every room for the sake of identification will be having a number called as an index. This index should always starts from 0 only. The index should be a positive whole number. Index cannot be a character or a fractional values. The array what we create in a C language, so most of the time it will be static in nature. That means the room sizes are fixed. If we want to have a flexibility in the room size, then we need to make use of pointers. Look at this particular picture. This is called as a pigeonhole. How many number of blocks have been done? There are 3 blocks. First block, second block and third block. So now all these particular boxes are being represented in a horizontal fashion. That means it is in a row wise. So in each block there is a one pigeon. Again in a second block there is a one pigeon. But in the third block there are 2 pigeons are there. That means this is not a valid example for an array. Why this particular pictorial representation is not valid? Because the rule says that one block or one room should have only one value. Here what is that value here? Pigeons are a value. Suppose if a room consists of more than one value in the same room, then it is not a value. Look at here. So let me take an array name as A. So what are the values we have been stored? 5, 6, 10, 13, 56, 76, 1, 2, 4 and 8. So these are the values we have been stored onto this particular array called as A. The name of array is A. Now is it a valid array? Yes, it is a valid array. Why it is a valid array? Because there are multiple number of rooms and each room contains a single value. Single value means it's not single digit value. That means like in the particular pigeon example, one room do not contains more than one value. That is the first rule where it has been got satisfied. Second rule is that all these particular values are of a same data type. That means all these numbers are integer numbers. Nothing but they are whole numbers. This is the reason why it is called as a valid array. Now let us see one more example. Here the array name is called as a B. And how many rooms we have been made? We have been made 5 rooms. First rules, check it out. Each room contains a single value. Yes, each room contains single value. Are they of same data type? Yes, all the 5 values are of a same data type. Which data type the values belong to? It belongs to a character data type. One thing you need to remember here, when you are writing alphabets that to a single letter, you need to enclose it with a single quote. When you are working with a number, no need to write a single quote. So all the rules of this particular array has been got satisfied. That is the reason why we made it as a valid. Now let us see one more example. Here the name of an array is called as a C. Okay, what is the value in the first room? A. Second room value is B. Third room value is 1. Look at here. What is happening here? First two rooms contains alphabets as a value. Third room is containing a number. Fourth room is containing fractional number. Again fifth room is containing an alphabet. So this is a mixed type of values are there. Nothing but mixed type means combination of alphabets and numbers are not allowed in arrays. Either it should be an alphabets or all the values should be a numbers only. So for this particular reason, this is not a valid array. Now is it been clear? Where how we can consider as a valid and invalid array? First check it out whether a single room contains multiple values or not. If it is containing a multiple values, then it is not an array. Second thing you need to find out, all the values are belong to a same data type or not. If they belong to same data type, then again it is a valid array. Otherwise it is not a valid array. Now let us say declaration of a one-dimensional array. What do you mean by the term called as a declaration? Allocating the specified number of rooms for an array is called declaration of an array. Clear with the definition? What does the definition says that? Allocating or creating the number of rooms for an array is called as a declaration of an array. When we declare an array, the rooms will be empty. Now syntax, data type, array name followed with the subscript. See, this part we call it as a subscript. We have been mentioned with the square bracket along with the size. Together it represents one subscript. In front of any name, if you have a pair of a square bracket along with the size, that you can consider it as an array. Example, int ARR of 6. So here int represents a data type. ARR is nothing but a name of an array. And 6 indicates the size of an array. What is the size indicates means the array ARR should contains 6 rooms. So the bracket along with the 6 together we call it as a subscript. Now how many subscripts are there? There is only one subscript. So which type of an array it is? It is a one-dimensional array. If an array consists of multiple number of subscripts, it is called multi-dimensional array. Now let us say it's a representation. ARR is nothing but it is the name of an array. When we write it here 6 memory rooms will be get allocated. Every room will be having a number called as an index. This index will always starts with a 0. So totally how many number of rooms? Once again you tell me. Totally there are 6 rooms. That is nothing but n is equals to 6. The total number of rooms we call it as a n. So n value is 6. And what will be the last index of an array? It will be n minus 1. This is the formula. So 6 minus 1 is nothing but a 5. That is the reason we have the last room index is 5. Suppose if I want to access the value which has been stored onto this first room, I need to write ARR of 0. When I write ARR of 0, that is nothing but array name with the subscript. We indicate that the value has to be get access. Suppose if I want to access the value from the fourth room, what is its index? Index is 3. What I need to write now? I need to write ARR of 3. Now we see initialization of an array. Assigning a value to the rooms of an array is called initializing the array. See, when we declare an array, the rooms will be empty. We don't have any particular values. So assigning a value or giving a value or storing a value to this particular array, we call it as a initialization. So what is the syntax for this is data type, array name, of size. Up to here it is same. It should be followed with is equals to, in the flower braces you need to write list of values. What values you want to store in an array, that we need to mention in the floor braces. So when we are working with an array, two types of brackets we need to use. Square bracket should be used only for to mention the size. Flower brackets should be used, or curly braces we call it. It should be used to give the values. Now let us see an example. Int array. What is the name of an array here? I have taken array itself. And what is its data type? Integer is it data type. What is the size of an array now? For the size means you need to look at the particular value what we have written within the square bracket. The size is nothing but 10. That means how many rooms will be created? Totally 10 rooms will be created. Now every room will be having an index. Yes, every room will have an index. What will be the first index value? Yes, correct. It is 0. Now what will be the last room index? N minus 1 you need to remember. That is nothing but 10 minus 1. And the index will be 9. And what values we are going to store? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. These 10 values we are going to store onto an array called as an array itself. Now where does the value 10 will be stored? The value 10 will be stored onto the first room. 20 will be stored to the second room. 30 will be get stored to the third room. Like this, all the values will be get stored automatically one after the another in sequence onto an array. See, this is what the particular pictorial representation. See, there are totally 10 rooms. See, the arrow marks we have been indicated. So each room is having an index 0 to 9. And the first value 10 will be stored onto the first room. Whatever you give in the particular floor bracket, that will be stored onto the particular rooms in sequence. And when you are giving a values, there is no condition that you need to give it in the order. Even you can give it random values also. See, this is a general picture which tells you about the particular index. Just go through this particular thing. Now we will see some of the examples on one-dimensional array. Before starting with a particular program, just I want to make a small review on syntax of a one-dimensional array. What we are going to write a syntax? We are going to write a data type array name of size. This is the syntax of a particular declaration of an array. So what happens when I declare an array? Memory for the particular array will be get created. So example, let me see one example. So I'm taking an integer data type. Array name I take it as the age. That means, so I want to store some of the person's age. So I have taken age as an array name and I write a open bracket. In that I am going to mention 5. Now what happens? So this is called as a declaration of an array called age. So what happens here? For this particular age, a memory 5 rooms will be get created. Why it is creating 5 rooms? Because here in the bracket I have mentioned it as a 5. Now seeing this particular example, that is the int age of 5, can you people identify what type of array it is? Yes, it is a one-dimensional array. See, this part we call it as a subscript, the whole, a square bracket along with the 5. This is a subscript. So how many number of subscripts are there? There is only a one sub. So now we have been created an array with the 5 room. Now what is the next part there? Now I need to give the values. So giving a values to an array is called as an initialization of an array. So how I can do this? Initialization of an array can be done in 3 ways or 3 methods. Is it clear? So the first method we call it as a static method. That is nothing but fixed method. Second method we call it as a direct. Third method we call it as a interactive method. So these are the 3 methods are there to give the values for an array. So static here means it's not a static what we have in a C language keyword. This static is nothing but a fixed here. So what I have been told here I have told you the syntax of an array for declaration, and I have taken one example called as an int age of 5, so that 5 rooms for the age will be get created. All the rooms will be together only. They will not be get separated from each other. So now next thing is that I want to give the values for this particular array. So how I need to give the values for this array? I can use either a static method, or I can use a direct method, or I can use a interactive method. So we will see one by one all the methods. Now we write first method. What is the first method? First method is the static. So for this what we are doing is that I'm going to write int age. So I will remove this particular example. Int age of 5 is equals to, open the float braces, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So how many elements have been given? First, second, third, fourth and fifth. One thing you need to remember, whenever we give the value, there is no rules that we need to give it in the order. Even random numbers also you people can give. But only thing you need to remember is that, so if these particular values are integer, it should satisfy this particular data type. So what type of a method we have been done now? We have been worked with the static method. That means the values will be fixed. So these values will be get fixed or stored onto an array during the time of a compilation. Basically, when you compile a program, by that time only these values will be get fixed onto this particular array. So next method is that method 2. What is the method 2? It's the direct method. So what I do is that I will take any of one method you people can use. No need to use all the 3 methods. Whichever method you people feel easy, that you people can use. In the examination, they won't ask like interactive method, direct method or static method. Int age of 5. So in the second method, what I'm doing is that I'm writing age of 0 is equals to 20. Age of 1 is equals to 30. Age of 2 is equals to 40. Age of 3 is equals to 50. Age of 4 is equals to 60. See, now if you observe what is the difference between this particular method and this particular method is that in this approach, computer is going to allocate the value 20 to the room number 1. So in the first approach, the value 20 will be automatically stored onto the first room. In the second value, 30 will be stored onto the second room. 40 will be stored onto the third room. 50 will be stored onto the fourth room. 60 will be stored onto the fifth room. So automatically computer is going to allocate these values into the respective rooms. But here in the second method, we are assigning the values to the respective method. Computer is not going to do this. So here values are assigned manually to the respective row. This is called as a second method. See, second method is not suggestible. Why it is not suggestible means, suppose if I have only 5 values, I can give the values. Assume that we are having some 50 values. Is it possible to write all 50 values one by one? So it is not suggestible. So there is another method called as a method 3. It is called as an interactive method. So in this interactive method, we are going to use one for loop. We are going to use printf statement and a scan. So first I'm going to write int age of 5. I'm going to just declare an array. Then I'm going to ask printf enter the 5 ages of a person. So directly I can't write a scanf state. Here I need to write one for loop. For I is equals to 0, I is less than or equals, I is less than 5, I plus plus. So I am writing one for loop. Why I am writing one for loop? Because every value need to be get stored onto the respective rooms sequence only. So in this I am going to write scanf %d comma ampersand age of I. This is what the particular third method we are going to write. So these are the particular 3 ways where we can work with a particular initialization of an arrays. All 3 methods I will be showing with an example. Now directly we are going to write a program for this. Let me take int age of 5. So I am writing here method 1. This is a program for method 1. So let me make it as a comment. Int age of 5 is equals to open floor brace 10 comma 20 30 40 50. So input for an array age has been got completed. Input is nothing but the initialization of an array. Now I want to print this. So for that what I'm writing, for I is equals to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. So in this I'm going to write printf %d. Let me write slash n age of I. So this is the program. So this particular lines we use it for the output part to display. Clear? Now you may be having a question, why I need to write a for loop? Why can't I write this statement directly? See, for example, if I write like this, see, you can't write because array will be containing multiple number of values. Suppose if I write printf percentage the age of I, only one value will be get displayed. So I want to display all the 5 values. For that purpose, I'm going to write a for loop. Now let us say it's a execution. So the values has been got printed. So I have taken an age, which is an array of 5 elements, and these are the values I have been given as an input, and the same values has been displayed here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 using a first method. Now we see the second method. It is also called as a direct method. So what happens in this method is that the values will be inserted onto an array manually. We can insert all the elements manually into any required room. So no need to follow the particular sequence of while inserting. So let us say with an example. So I am taking int age of 3, an array of 3 elements I am going to consider. Now I need to first perform an operation called as an input operation. So for input operation, I need to write age of 0 is equals to 10. Age of 1 is equals to 20. Age of 2 is equals to 30. So this is what the particular operation I have been done. So what I have done is that I have taken the value 10, directly storing or dumping into the location of a array. So now I want to perform output operation. So when I am performing an output operation, I need to write a printf statement, printf percentage d age of 0. I'm going to write age of 0. I have seen this particular process, the input process as well as the output process. So while inserting a value onto a particular array in a method 2, no need to write a scanf statement. Directly you can insert the values. So this method, you people may feel it's very easy, right? Because it's very simple. But this method is having one drawback. What is the drawback is that this method is suitable only for the small values. If you're having some age of 300 people, so is it possible to write all the particular 300 values in this way? No, we are not going to write it. Is it clear? So for that particular purpose, we are not using direct method most of the time. Only when we are having a very smaller values, then we use a direct method. Otherwise, direct method is not suggestible. So let me execute this particular program. Say this is the output. I got the value 10, 20 and 30. So now what is the one more advantage of this particular thing is that suppose if I don't want to give the value 20 for age of 1. So I'm making it as a comment. Either you make comment or you can delete that particular line. So only out of 3 rooms, I am inserting only 2 rooms. That is first room as well as the last room. The middle room, I have left it intentionally blank. So this type of option is available in terms of a direct method. So when you have not inserted any value onto the middle room, that is the room number 2, so you are not supposed to display that particular value. Suppose if you try to display this particular printf statement, you will get a garbage value. What do you mean by the term called as a garbage value? Nothing but unwanted value. See, let us see the output. We get the output as 10 and 30. Suppose if I write this particular age of 1, see here age of 1 I have not been given, but I am trying to print age of 1, we are going to get a garbage value. We get a value as 10, 8 and 30. See, in your computer when you work, it is not guaranteed that you get the same 8 value. This particular garbage value will depend from computer to computer. So I am going to remove this line, and once again I am going to show you the output where that garbage value will not be get printed. See here, only 10 and 30 has been got printed. Okay, now let us discuss about the third method called as an interactive method. So in this interactive method, we will be using scanf statement, printf statement and one loop. So I will be using here for loop. So scanf statement is a statement which accepts a value from the keyboard and stores onto an array. Printf statement is a one statement which takes the value from an array and displays it on the monitor. Array contains multiple number of values. So each value has to be get printed onto the monitor one by one. So for that purpose we use loops. Even for inserting also, each room should be get inserted with one value. So for that purpose again we use loops. That means for input we need one loop, and for output also we need one loop. So let me take one example. So I have taken one array called as a age, and its size is of a 5. So I need one variable called as a I. This I am going to use for the loop. So now printf, enter the 5 values for I equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. So the particular for loop what I have been written. So this is required for the input purpose. We use it for input. Now we need to display all the elements what we have been accepted one by one. So for that again I am going to write a particular for loop. So now look at here, the for loop for the scanf statement and for the for loop for the printf both are same. It is not going to change. So the body of the particular for loop is will be get changed. So when you are writing this particular printf statement, no need to write a ampersand. Only in the scanf we need to write a ampersand. Now let us run the program. See, once we execute the program, the system is going to ask us to enter 5 different values. So here I am giving 45, 12, 17, 19 and 24. Intentionally I have been given a random values. No need to give it in a sequence. Only thing you need to remember that all the values should be of integer data type. So I have given 5 values. Now the same values will be get printed in the same order as a output. So this is what the particular first 5 elements represents an input, and the remaining 5 elements represents an output. Now let us analyze this particular program. So here what is going to happen for this age? 5 rooms will be get created. What type of values we can store on this particular age? Only integer values. How it looks? Pictorial. So this is what the particular age array will be looking. Now I am going to show you the iterations for the input process. So if I run this particular program, it is going to ask enter 5 values. Why this particular statement I am getting? Because of this particular statement. Is it clear? So I am going to get enter 5 values. So here for this particular loop, initially I value is equals to 0. Why I am taking I is equals to 0? Since this is the first room address and its index value is 0. So that I is pointing to 0. For that purpose we have written I is equals to 0. So from 0 up to where it should go? Up to 4. That means if it is a 4 index is 4, that will be the fifth room because it is starting from 0, n minus 1. That is a formula. N is equals to 5. 5 minus 1 means it is 4. So what we have written is that I is less than 5. So it will be get stopped. So here I is equals to 0, which is less than 5. Is the condition true? Yes, the condition is true. Once the condition is true, what happens? The for loop will be get satisfied. Once it gets satisfied, it enter into the body of the for loop. What is that inside the body of the for loop? We are having scanf statement. What does the scanf will do? Scanf statement will accept the value from the keyboard and stores onto the arrays. So here we are writing scanf %d ampersand age of I. Now suppose here if I give the value as 45, so where that 45 will be get stored? 45 will be get stored. See here, ampersand age of 0 is equals to 45. What is the value of 5? Here in the first part I value is 0, so ampersand age of 0 is equals to 45. So here in the picture 45 will be get stored. Once after storing the value 45, now where the next value has to be get stored? The next value has to be stored onto the second room. What is the index of this particular second room? Index is 1. Now what should be the value of I? I value should be made as a 1. So how I can make the I value as 1? Once the particular loop goes back to the beginning of the statement, I will be get incremented. Now I value is 1. 1 is less than 5. Yes, it is true. So age of I is equals to, so what is the value I want to give here? I'm going to give it as a 33 now. So once I give a 33, so age of I value is 1. So value I'm given as a 33. So where the 33 will be stored? In the room number 2, which is having an index called as a 1. So in the picture, so here 33 will be get stored. Once 33 has been got inserted onto an array, next it should move to the room number 3. So what is the index of the room number 3? 2 is the index. So now what should be the value of where I should be get pointing? I should be pointing to 2. So now what will be the value of I? I will be get incremented because the control goes back to the beginning of the loop. 2 is less than 5. Yes, it is true. Ampersand age of 2. So here when I run here, I'm going to give the value as a 22. So here which value will be get stored? 22 will be get stored. Where it will be get stored? Onto the room number 3. So here the value 22 will be get stored. Once 22 has been got stored, again the value of I should be incremented to 3. So again the control goes back, the I value will become a 3. 3 is less than 5. Yes, it is true. Ampersand of 3. So which value you want to give it here? I am giving it as a 66. So here 66 will be get stored onto the index where it is having a 3. That is nothing but a fourth room. Once the value 66 has been got inserted, again the value of I will be get incremented. Now I is pointing to the last room, that is nothing but a fifth room, and its index is 4. Now again the control goes back to the for loop. I value will be get incremented. 4 is less than 5. Age of 4. So here I will give the output here 77. So I have given here instead of 66, I give it as a 77. Now the particular 77 has to be stored onto the fifth room. Now look at here, the value of I is pointing to the room number 5, means index is 4. Do I have any other room now? No, all rooms has been got filled up. Now array can't insert a new value. Now what I need to do now? I came to know that array has been got filled up. What happens in the loop? If the loop comes back, value of I becomes a 5. 5 is less than 5. Condition is false. If the condition is false, what happens? It directly comes out of the particular for loop. So this is how insertion takes place in the one-dimensional array. Same way, same type of analysis you people can do for the printf statement. Instead of inserting, it displays it on the monitor. Will you people try it using a paper and a pen?